It's 6:15 a.m. We're awake for photography lessons. For photography reasons. Whew. I'm going to be even less articulate than normal. Today, a closer look at the town of Hope in British Columbia. Movies have been shot here, and the town has a thriving community vibe that is very appealing. And then the sights on the back roads outside of Hope towards Vancouver, including 2 waterfalls with distinct and impressive locations. One of the nicest places you could ever hope to visit. Good morning from Hope, British Columbia in Canada. It's breakfast time here at the is it called Blue Moon? Blue Moose Cafe. A cinnamon sugar donut and a tea, actually. So I already had coffee in the room. Today we're driving to Vancouver. See, here's my sister with a frightening looking drink. I don't know what that is. What is it? It's a cappuccino, but it's like a bucket. So a donut, a tea, and first a little drive around Hope to see the amazing sculptures and buildings all around Hope in this little extremely charming town, and then we're going to hit the road. Before leaving Hope, I want to drive around the streets here and just look at them, because it seems like kind of a small community, but very, very vibrant. Every store, every place for a store has a store that's not closed or like an emptied out building. And everything has a small town vibe, a little bit old, like the buildings seem like kind of old wooden buildings, and just absolutely full of personality. And all sorts of sculptures. There's also a thing that this town is related to the movie Rambo, First Blood. What was the Rambo connection? The first movie?
Part of it was filmed here.
Part of it was filmed here. And I haven't seen that movie in probably 30 years. But I imagine it's maybe in the early part of the movie where he falls. What happens in that movie? He falls down out of the sky for some reason. He falls into some trees. What is the plot?
Don't remember. It's been a while.
For some reason he falls out of the sky. He falls into some trees, and he goes into a town, and Brian Dennehy gives him a lot of trouble.
You visiting somebody around here?
So anyway, some part of that movie was filmed here. So there are like Rambo statues, and the local movie theater is actually playing that movie here now. A little more interestingly for me, they're also playing Caddyshack in like next week for free. But unfortunately I won't be here. It's almost worth flying back to Canada for. postcards mailed to Patreon members from Canada Post here in Hope. Just driving by and saw a sign for this. It's a cool waterfall and a little short hiking trail through this amazing forest full of like moss hanging on the trees, dark green with all this sunlight hitting the moss. We're just at the parking area still. We haven't even started the trail and we can't get started because everything even here is so photogenic and amazing. But we will get to the waterfall eventually. But this is some of my favorite type of scenery, the mossy trees, especially up here where it's cool, like in the higher elevations. Stupendous. Another one worth the hike, Bridal Veil Falls. A few people here, all of them enjoying the cool air, violating the absolutely dangerous "do not ever pass beyond this point" sign. Well, we've been here for about an hour in the park, scrambling over rocks and stumps and flowing water to get all kinds of the best shots of everything. I don't know how long this is actually going to be when I edit it together for YouTube. There's a big frog on that tree. See if you can see this frog. And when I say frog, I mean a frog bird. That's the kind of bird it was. Hey, good time over at Bridal Veil Falls. Now, the other thing we're going to do next is we're going to get back on the... You know what? Hang on. I'm going to do this while I'm driving. Meet me at the diabetes box. Okay, so this is the, what I call the interstate. It's not an interstate technically, but it's Highway 1, the Trans-Canada Highway. It's nice, but it's boring here. It's just a 4-lane highway with a median and nothing on it. So we're gonna go to another side road across the river, and it's much smaller, and I did absolutely no research. So the next part of the video will be, what can we find on this other highway? This morning, back in Hope, I was talking to the lady who was putting water in the flower planters around town. and she was recommending like a nice road with a bunch of nice farmlands on it. I didn't know what she meant. I couldn't remember the name, but I think this happens to be it. The road that I found from the interstate thing, this is it. And she was right. This is much, much, much more interesting than the interstate. Rural British Columbia, and we're starting to see some of the amazing hedges. The hedge game of the people here is top notch. So we're heading down the road on Highway 7, and we passed this restaurant called Wheelz. And it just looked really interesting, little roadside restaurant. Nobody here because it's like 2 p.m. So we had to circle way around through these like farmlands and stuff. Got back here and it's great. I got the chicken donburi, which is actually a Japanese dish. There's like Korean and Japanese and Western stuff all on the menu. And she said the restaurant is 100 years old. But the chicken donburi is excellent. And she brought us some free potato cakes just as a bonus. And it's a perfect roadside lunch. All right, the lunch was wonderful, a big meal for a big road trip, and we're off of Highway 7 now. We're on a side road that goes up about 13 kilometers or something to a place that supposedly has an emerald-colored lake, or not a lake, an emerald-colored little pond. So we're gonna go there and see if there's indeed a waterfall falling into it, and if it is indeed emerald. What do you think are the chances of
Good.
success?
Very good. Except for the waterfall part.
So we'll see. And now, to work off that lunch, a little hiking path. I don't think it's very long, but it's straight uphill. I can see it, the falls and the amazing suspension bridge. Okay, the falls are amazing. The pool they're falling into is indeed quite emerald. And certain times here when the sun hits it, on the little bottom left corner is a little rainbow effect in the mist. But what does it look like from this amazing suspension bridge? Okay, here we go. The first part is pretty steep. All right, there you go. Totally worth the side trip drive here. Okay, after the wondrous waterfalls, we have been driving for a while on the way to Vancouver on back roads, not Highway 1. What's happening now is everything is dominated by this big white snow-capped mountain, the biggest mountain we've seen on this trip. I don't know what it is. I'm going to find out what it is after this trip. The good news is we seem to be, so far, missing the rush hour traffic if there is any. It's 5:30 p.m. Anyway, just check in with you to let you know what the progress is of this road trip. Okay, it was a long day. We made it here to Vancouver. It was a long day driving into the sun, but I dug all of the scenery the whole way. It's really cool. So since lunch was kind of bigger than I normally eat, dinner's going to be small. I'm kind of finishing up some of the snack foods we've accumulated along the way. Got applesauce and crackers and peanut butter that may have been stolen from a hotel or may not have been. I really don't remember. And some of those celebration cookies, which have been in the hot car for about 2 days, and they're all fused together. The chocolate stuck everything together. So I'm going to eat a brick of those. And then we're going to go exploring a little bit of Vancouver tonight because the sun sets real late, so we got a lot of daylight hours left. We're going to go look at how the sunlight hits some of the buildings around the university, I think. We're a little loopy. We found this entire apartment, this 2-bedroom apartment here in the middle of Vancouver, and it's really in a nice, quiet residential street, and we're a little sleepy from the ride, so we're giggling uncontrollably because we're tired. But anyway, I'm going to put all of the stuff about going to the university tonight and exploring all that area in the extended version of the video. So for now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. This video continues in the extended version. See the whole thing, plus past and future extended videos without ads, and get other special perks via my Patreon page by pledging support for my work exploring unusual and lesser-known destinations. Special thanks this week to Calvin Ferreira, Darcy Otranto, David Richley, Jacob Fatz, Lever Wong, Matt Kane, Michael Fedor, Nathaniel Holland, Omeyer, Ray Nichols, Samantha, and Will Phillips. You can also sign up for my free weekly email newsletter, which features behind-the-scenes info and early links to videos before they're public. Links to both are in the video description. Thanks for wandering around with me.